CBS Atlanta News presents Public Affairs on Peach.
It is Sunday morning, and this week on Public Affairs on Peach, we are talking about mixed martial arts, and we're talking about boxing, a multi-million-dollar business here in Georgia. Boxing, MMA fighting, and kickboxing, high-energy, high-risk sports. Thousands of fans pay top dollar to see these fights happen live. The UFC has even brought some of its biggest fights right here to Phillips Arena. Good Sunday morning to everyone. I'm Brandon Rudat. As of a few weeks ago, all MMA fights, all sanctioned boxing fights, they were on hold, but a last-minute deal has been struck. And you may be asking yourself right now, how is that even possible? How did we even get to that point? MMA fighting and boxing is one of the biggest sports here in Georgia. Local fight promoters and the Georgia Athletic Commission are protesting the Secretary of State's decision to appoint a guy by the name of Kelly Farr as secretary to oversee many of these boxing fights. We should point out that Mr. Farr is deputy secretary for Secretary of State Kemp. The Athletic Commission claims that Mr. Farr has zero experience with the actual sport of boxing. And because of his lack of knowledge in such a high-risk combat sport, they believe that Mr. Farr could end up posing a risk to those fighters. Here with us this morning is Don Geary. He is the chairman of the Georgia Athletic and Entertainment Commission. It is good to have you here.
Thank you.
Is that a big concern to you, that the secretary here, Kelly Farr, could possibly put fighters at risk?
It's a very big concern. Safety is our #1 concern when we coordinate these fights. And Mr. Farr's lack of experience in the industry. Now, he's had some contact and had the position before, but he didn't have the experience then. He still doesn't have it, and it is a huge safety concern for us.
And to explain to our viewers, the Georgia Athletic Commission, you guys are a commission appointed by the governor, correct? So you guys are appointed by the governor. And it's the Secretary of State, though, that appoints your secretary on the commission.
Correct.
This person should be responsible for what when it comes to fighting?
They carry out the tasks assigned by the commission. They oversee the events. They report back to us to make sure everything's run correctly, run safely, run by the rules. Their job is to oversee.
And they're overseeing what? We're talking about fight cards here, right? We're talking about weight classes, who's fighting who.
That's part of it. Part of it, and again, much of the rules, or many of the rules, are in just to ensure the safety. So make sure people are in the proper physical shape, medical condition, have the experience, not only in the ring, but in a gym to be able to come in and fight. Some of our people come in as rookies. They're 0 and 0. They've got to go make the effort, look at what they've done, and understand their gym, understand their trainer, and understand that when they walk in the ring, they're matched with someone that won't kill them.
And you're saying Kelly Farr does not have that experience?
Not close, no.
Zero confidence?
No.
He was the secretary years ago in this same position.
Correct.
Does that not give him enough experience to do the job he's been assigned to do again?
Let me say this. 300 years ago, doctors operated and did surgery. If one came forward from 300 years ago, would you let one operate on you today? No. Kelly Farr did something many years ago. And in MMA, 5 years is 300 years. The industry has come so far, safety-wise, experience-wise, the capability of the fighters, the training of the fighters. If they're up against someone now that is not equal to them and not skilled, they can kill them. Kelly Farr has got no idea about this. He's going to look at someone as 2 and 0, and he's going to match them, and because they're the same weight class. We can't have that.
Okay, so you guys went to Secretary of State Kemp,
yes,
and you said, here is a list of about 5 people who we would like to be our secretary. As a full-time job, these people can go out there, really sanction these fights to make sure that everyone's health is safe. Correct?
Correct.
Secretary of State said what to you?
He turned around and appointed the gentleman who was head of the mortuary board to that position. The gentleman, wonderful gentleman, couldn't spell MMA. I mean, he didn't know the first thing. So we were at 0 minus.
And then what happened?
Well, we, I guess, complained. It got a little bit of media. Obviously, that became a position that I'm guessing Mr. Kemp couldn't support or justify, and he then appointed Kelly Farr. In our position, while Kelly Farr at least had held the position before, it wasn't sufficient where we are today for this commission to ensure the safety of the fighters.
Now, we do want to let our viewers know that we did reach out to Secretary of State Kemp. We did not hear back from him. on this issue. He has, though, spoken to the media off and on over the past month, and it came down to somewhat of a budget concern. It seems to be that's what's coming out in the media, that there is a budget issue, that he doesn't know if he's going to have the budget for that person next year, so he didn't want to bring on somebody immediately right now, according to media reports. Your response to that?
This is a position that is required by statute. He's going to have the budget for it. The Secretary of State's office, I believe we're a political football, just like the Secretary of State did with the state archives. They get into a budget crush. They get something that's going to make an impact. They close down the state archives. Something's done. I don't know if anything will be done here. We're making great efforts to ensure that our statutory responsibility is being taken care of, and we're trying to keep the sport going, or the sports going in Georgia.
Now, as of about a month ago, that you guys were all protesting, and it looked as if in 2013 there were going to be no fights until this situation was taken care of. You guys as a commission have decided to do what? Well, what did you guys decide to do legally that you can still get around the secretary of your own commission, who you guys are protesting, in order to make sure that fights are brought here to Georgia next year?
Let me clarify. We weren't protesting. We were just ensuring that our statutory obligation was being met, and we couldn't in the situation, so we could not go forward. That's just the position we took. We found a compromise with the ABC, the American Boxing Commission, and they agreed to assist us in matching cards. We have great confidence in our officials, our head official, our referees, our judges. They're the best in the nation, so they're still available to us.
So does this mean, I'm just trying to understand this, so that this means if there's a fight in downtown Atlanta, if the UFC wanted to come here and bring one of their big main fights here next year, they could come to the Georgia Athletic Commission, and as long as the ABC is involved matching those cards, you're saying that those fights will go on?
They will go on. We will find some way, if not by the statutorily implied way, we'll find a way to get the card matched so that they can go on. Because
the UFC has come out and said if Georgia doesn't clean up their act, if there is turmoil at all between the Georgia Athletic Commission and the secretary, they will not come here. They will simply pull the plug and go elsewhere.
They have said that, yes. We have directly communicated with them, and that's their position.
Is that why you are still fighting this battle against the Secretary of State, trying to get someone other than Kelly Farr as secretary?
Yes and no. Obviously, we want the UFC and any other, the big matches to come in. It's good for the state. It's good for the income of the fighters, everybody. But ultimately, we're trying to make sure we can do this safely, whether it's the UFC or whether it's a first-time promoter putting on a show in Athens. We're trying to make sure that it's a safe event. It's good for the fans. It's good for the fighters. It's good for Georgia.
And you were saying that Georgia has actually a very good reputation as far as being a safe place to come and fight.
We were cited actually not too many months ago in Sports Illustrated as having one of the best operating commission and efficiently operating commissions in the nation.
All right, very good. Don Geary, thank you for your time this morning. Keep us updated as this continues, and let us know if there's any hiccups along the way. Certainly a big draw for money here in the state of Georgia, people going out and watching fights.
Tens of millions of dollars a year.
Right. Thank you very much. All right, coming up next, right after the break, we're going to talk to a very successful fight promoter right here in Georgia, and how he and pro fighters, well, they could have been out of a job. That story more when we come back.